Welcome back to my book channel. My name is Lady Lauren Explorer, and today is the final week for my Black romance authors and Black main characters. I'm feeling really great. I'm going to have this week with a bang of a lot of new content, some series that I can end, some stories that from some of the authors that I read here that are kind of new to me, but they have other stories I want to read, and some of them are relatively short, so I can do that. I just want to end it with a more than what I thought. I'm already going strong, so I've been reading 4 to 5 books a week and loving it. So now I'm shooting for 10, 11 for this last one, maybe. If I can do it, I can do it. But first, we're going to start with a reread that I read, and it is The Hookup Dilemma by Constance Gillam. And this is he falls first. There is conflict in here. I don't know how else to put this. This is not enemies to lovers, even though they are on two sides of this, two different sides of something very prominent in their world. But she is a food critic. I used to think she was a lawyer, but she's a lawyer food critic. And he is an architect, but his father is a building developer, very rich, and he is trying to develop a high-end grocery place in her neighborhood, which is a predominantly elderly and Black neighborhood. We all know where that goes. Basically, he's trying to gentrify the neighborhood and move all the elderly people out and bring in new wealth, new, young, hip individuals, and she's trying to save her neighborhood. He gets sucked into this, but they meet on happenstance. Literally, she's going into his building late at night trying to talk to someone, and he's going out of his building. It's his birthday, and he just wanted to just get out for a minute, and they just meet at a bar near the place, have a one-on-one. It leads to something like a one-night stand that he didn't want it to end, and she didn't want it to end too, but she was being realistic. They meet again at the council meeting for the committee to approve of his father's building this development, and she realizes that he and his family is trying to get rid of her neighborhood that she grew up in. That's her sanctuary, and he pursues her to the fullest. She is just trying not to deal with him. She's not trying to fall for him, mainly because of what he represents to her grandmother, who is in this development, who's living in this neighborhood, whose house she's been living in for 30 years, ever since their grandfather died. It's just a lot of sentimental stuff in that house, in this neighborhood, that he's getting rid of. And he, on the other hand, is trying to save his family's company, build his own company, while also trying to look out for his love, because he is falling for her, and it's just so good. The spice is okay. I think I gave this book a 4.25, but now I'm giving it a 4 because I wish there was more graphic spice. The plot was really, really good. I truly loved everything about this besides more graphic spice. Really good. Then my new read, I think most of everything is going to be a new read now, but my new read is Love Script. This is the deluxe edition by Tiffany Ashley. This is a fake dating, fake marriage kind of gig. Our guy, what is his name? Nicholas, he is trying to get this marketing gig, a huge marketing gig, and he has the person he's trying to have this marketing gig with is supposed to be going on a cruise for his anniversary. And so Nicholas is like, hey, I'm too, we're going on a cruise, and hey, what's your cruise Oh, you're going to the Caribbean? So we are too. Also, he has a business partner who is like a rival, who's also going on the cruise, who's also married. So they all, like, both of them, they're fake marriage. So he's trying to find someone just to go with as a fake lover, a fake wife. And he does find someone. He's known to be a Casanova, a woman's kind of guy. He has 2 or 3 partners a cycle. Like, he has 3 of them that we know of in the book that he just cycles through. And they kind of like know each other anyway. So, but our heroine, she is going on this cruise with her. She's supposed to go on this cruise with her current boyfriend, but something happens where she decides to just go by herself, and they happen to meet up. His person falls through, and she is right there in the nick of time when the boss that he's trying to get in to hook in with his marketing deal sees them, and he realizes that his prey is married to a Black woman. And our heroine, she's Black. So he, just off the top of his head, says, hey, wave at them. And so she does, because I would too. But he makes a proposition for her and a deal, and she does this deal. So for the whole entire 10-day cruise, they are married. And that also leads to, like, feelings getting involved. You will toss this book because he is just not, like, sometimes the things he does I just don't understand. But I did like this. I think I gave this a book a 4.5. The steam was really, really nice. The drama was good. The theatrics was good. Like, it was going, like, I was here for everything in this. And he does grovel towards the end once he realizes what he put her through was wrong. I think she gave in a little too quick, but, that's what's at the point. And then next, which I'll do when I finish the duet, I'm reading, you know what? I mean, you see it right there, but I will get with you when I get done with it, so stay tuned. Hi, it's a new day, and I finished the 2 books. Well, I finished the first one already, but I finished the duet, the last of the duet, last night. And that is I've heard they're called the Carter Files, or they're called, like, the White Man series, but it's by Kim West, and it's white male and Black female. This is a duet, I think, from, like, what I got from the last couple of pages of the book. Not the story, just the book. There might be more coming, but I haven't seen anything about it yet, so I don't know. This is interracial. This is office romance, and this is a he falls first, but you don't know it. He really is pursuing her, but this is basically the same story told in both their point of views. But you see how, like, weirdly short this one is? It's so short. Like, this is, like, less than 300 pages. 288. This is over 400. I think it was like 414. So, basically the whole premise of the story is our heroine, she's a finance analyst for this big company, his family's company, and she gets into this position. Well, she worked in the finance department, but she had, like, some really good ideas, and her boss finds out that there's going to be a marketing financial, like, program on the boss's level, and they're wanting more people for that department. And so he decides, like, hey, you need to get this job. So she does this presentation, and she nails it, and she becomes part of the department. Higher pay, pay raise, getting promotion. It's great. The boss is Jonathan Carter. He is always the person that does not like her stuff. He always says that she could do better. It doesn't look right. And it almost comes off as like racist, the way he does it, the way he acts towards her. She even calls it out sometimes, but she keeps a very professional face and just tries to do better. One day, he makes her redo this presentation like 3 times, and then he says, hey, if you don't get this done, like, you need to get this done, and we're going to have a one-on-one meeting at 7 where you can show me his presentation all over again. So she's working at 7. He is in the presentation room, and she goes through the presentation, and he does not like it. And something happens. She is mad, but she collects herself and starts taking away all of her presentation props. And then he comes up behind her and says something to the effect of, your big booty, you think you have, why does your big booty mesmerize me? You think that you own this place, blah, 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 blah. And he kisses her. They end up having sex, which this particular scene literally cringed me. I almost DNF'd the book because of this scene. I felt so weirded out. They've never dated outside their race. So, the way he was, talking to her intimate parts was crazy. He even asked her what color was her vagina. And she's like, black. That literally made me stop for a minute. I had to stop. I walked away from the book and I was like, Lauren, just finish it. You have to read the duet. Just finish it. You can talk about it later. Give it a low rating later, but just finish it. This is them going through her trust issues. She has very big trust issues, especially stemming from her ex-boyfriend, who is a NFL player who's cheating on her, all that kind of stuff. And she's has a lot of hard times trusting men, especially men outside her race, who's also very, very affluent. So in this one, her point of view is literally she thinking that he is just having a go at her, being the rebel for a minute before he settles down on a nice white woman who will have babies with and all that kind of stuff. She is realizing that she's probably that person, and she's trying not to get attached. But then, you realize that he's really trying to pursue her in this. He's really pursuing her, and she's giving the impression that he's not serious about them. And then things happen. So there is drama. There is the race coming into here. There is a family, especially his family. There is other woman drama because Jonathan is a playboy. He definitely is a playboy. He has multiple women. But when he finally gets her, he realizes that he doesn't need anyone else. And you don't realize this in her book. This is a duet. It's the same story told to two different point of views. I don't like her point of view. I'm just saying. His point of view was so much better. So much better. I love this book. This was really good. I think I put in my review of this whole entire series, or this book in general, that having his point of view made everything make so much more sense, because you realize that he falls first. He had a crush on her, and he's never had a crush on someone outside his race. He's realizing that she is someone that he wants in his life, no matter what anyone else is saying to him. And it's just, he's pushing for her. So what I suggest you do is you read this book and do not read this book. Again, it's the same entire story, just told in her point of view and his point of view. His point of view makes so much more sense, and I loved it. I'm just saying. But, yes. I do think I have 2 more books that I'm supposed to be reading this month. Well, yeah, the rest of this month. Well, physical. Everything else is probably going to be ebook, so KU, and I will show you them in a minute. I'll see you guys in a second. Hey. Okay, it's February 24th for me, and I finished Phoebe Tyler's Love Unexpected. I'm going to say that this book wasn't for me. The plot, how the plot came about, I just didn't like it. There was, let me just tell you, this is an age gap kind of taboo romance between a stepfather and his stepdaughter. She is 18 and he is 41. I guess I should say she's always had a crush on him before her mother started dating him, and then so like time goes on and they get married. So she's been his stepdaughter for over 5 or 6 years. He's the principal at her school. So she's about to leave for college. She has one more month left before she turns 18. Something very tragic happens. They are left with each other. That starts this whole segment of I want you. You're not really related to me kind of thing. But also like there's a plot. There's more than like just them trying to get together. But her biological dad comes back into the picture, and certain things her mother has been like hiding from her, dealing with her father. This main plot is just them being together and kind of like hiding it, and their situations of like accepting this happening. Like it's a lot, and it just wasn't for me. And I can tell you the exact point in time that I knew that this book wasn't for me. I literally cried when I found out what happened, the tragic incident that happened. Then it was a month later, I think, they go on a type of like vacation to like, just get away from their town. And that's when this whole being with you starts. That just didn't sit well with me. Like, it started out of nowhere. Like, we didn't see this. You know what I mean? Like, if there was tension before this tragedy happened, there wouldn't be, because then that would be grooming. But if there was tension before this tragedy happened, then I could see how they transitioned to being or trying to be together the way they did in so quick of a time frame. But because there was nothing that suggested that they were together or trying to be together, there was no sexual tension between them as before this tragedy happened. And then all of a sudden, after the tragedy happens, now there's tension. I like, what? Like, what? I just didn't get it. Nothing resonated with me. I just was not here for it. I thought the heroine, she was very selfish, needy, whiny. The hero, I thought he was just had no backbone. I know he's broken from basically having so much tragedy happen in his life before them and then this happening. But to do this, there's like a lot. And I'm not saying that I would like him to have had this tension with her as she was growing up with him, but I think it would have been better, like, suited for me if it was, even though it's screaming, and I wouldn't want that in like real life. I don't know, like, if I realized that there was tension before this tragedy happened, or we saw the tension before this tragedy happened, I think I would have set better for me. I would have liked it more, but there wasn't. So like, I was just like, how did you guys go from this to this? And it hasn't been like 2 months since this tragic thing happened, I just didn't get it, and it was just not for me. Not for me. I just, I read it. The spice was okay, actually, you know? Again, this is an age gap forbidden virgin heroine romance between a stepfather and a stepdaughter. So, on to the next one, which is right behind me, if you can see right there. I took off the dust jacket, but it's Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. So, I'm on page 18. So, yeah. I'm hoping I will like this one better. I've heard so many good things about it, and I will let you know. Hey! Alright. So, today is the 25th, and I just finished Before I Let Go. I told you that I was reading this yesterday, and I was like on page 18, which is like chapter 2. So this one is a Black love story. Our main characters are mature. They have 2 preteens. They are divorced. They've been divorced for 2 years, but they co-parent and own a restaurant together. And they're doing pretty well. The reason for their divorce is actually because of something that happened when they were married. It's also a trigger warning, but it's a loss of child. And they went through grief. She went through Yasmin. Yasmin went through a period of time where her grief was just so all-consuming that it was just like a challenge for her to wake up in the morning. And the only reason she actually woke up wasn't to like be a better herself, but it was actually just to take care of her kids. And it just wasn't enough for her. She was not in the space like her husband was to just take on this grief and pack it down and not think about it and just push on. So this miscommunication of feelings, of stages of grief for them led them to get a divorce. She asked for it. He begged her not to because he did not want this divorce, but she pushed through it. So we are now 2 years later, and they are in a space where she's doing good. She's becoming her old self. He is in a space where he's starting to kind of move on because he doesn't think that she wants to be with him at all. And that's also a miscommunication. Like if they just talked about this, it would be so much better. But I did like this book. I would recommend this book. This is I've seen this everywhere. A lot of my booktubers who I watch love this book, said that it was 5 stars. For me, I have a book review on it. It wasn't 5 stars for me, but I did enjoy it. This showed me love in the trials of it, the aftermath of grief, and the process that it took them to take for them to get back together. This has great representation for therapy because I think therapy helps so much. And them going to therapy separately helped so much. It opened their eyes to things that they weren't thinking about, also what they weren't acknowledging, and I love that. I go to therapy every week, and I love going to therapy. Sometimes it sucks, it hurts. Sometimes the emotions that happen afterwards is like soul crushing. But once you get into that space of, I don't need to keep all my feelings in, I have someone who can help me process my feelings, everything will be like lifted a little bit, and slowly you start feeling so much better. And that's what it took for them. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and now we're going to move on to the next book. Hey! Okay, so today is the last day of my Black author romances, and it's the 27th. So I finished this new book called Make Me Believe You by Antoinette Roberts. This was recommended to me on KU. Literally, I had just finished, which one did I just finish? The Artist by Eva Monroe and Madeline Watson. And I was just okay. That was cool. This was on the recommended on the bottom. And I was okay, yeah, let me try this out. So glad I did. This book was really, really good. So we start off, this is a marriage in trouble. And they've been together for, I think, 12, 15 years, something like that. And our heroine has filed for divorce from her husband, who seems like he is not engaged with their family. There is a child, they have a child together, and he doesn't seem like he is willing to be with her and their child. He cares more about work, focus on work. He's always busy with work. He keeps missing appointments, school meetings, child meetings, festivals. He misses his son's soccer games, and he always says I'm sorry, I got busy, stuff like that. But also we're dealing with the fact that he has been publicly seen, there's pictures of him in a lip lock with his current secretary or assistant. So she's still an assistant. And there's a reason why. Our heroine is just not having it. She's not, he keeps telling her that he's going to change, that he wants to be with him. He wants this family life. He loves her. He loves his kid, but it's not showing. So they've been separated. She starts seeing someone else. And that's when we first start the book, when he's picking up his son, and his son tells him that, mom is, got dressed because she's going on a coffee date to meet someone. And he is realizing, yes, I need to change. I need to do something to show her that I still love her. So she gives him, after, things happen, she gives him this ultimatum of, I don't need you to tell me that you're going to change. You need to make me believe that you're going to change, that you have changed. And so he strives to do that. And it's just so good, so good. It's so good that I'm going to buy it in physical form because I really want it to have it in my hands. It's that good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this last week of Black romance authors. I hope I entice you to read some of these new books. To me, some old ones I like rereading because they're so good. And I hope you have a wonderful day. My name is Lady Lauren Explorer. I post a video Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes Sunday. So please be subscribed so you can get notified when I upload. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!